Friends, this is part 2 of my talk on the viruses. So, in the first part, we discussed about the different types of microorganisms like the bacteria, the fungi, the viruses, their special features, and so on. And in this part 2, we will discuss about the benefits that we derive from these viruses and also the emerging viruses of the current time. So, coming to the beneficial part, the discovery of the abundance of, or say, the variety of viruses and their overwhelming presence in many ecosystems, it has led the modern virologists to reconsider their role in the biosphere. So, it is estimated that there are about 10 to the power of 31 viruses on the earth. So, that is one followed by 31 zeros. So many crores of viruses are there on the earth. And most of them are in the oceans. So the microorganisms, they constitute more than 90% of the biomass in the sea. And it has been estimated that viruses kill approximately 20% of this biomass each day, and that there are 15 times as many viruses in the oceans as there are bacteria and the archaea. So the viruses, they are the main agents responsible for the rapid destruction of the harmful algal blooms, which often kill other marine life and thereby help maintain the ecological balance of different species of the marine blue-green algae. So thus, maintaining the adequate oxygen production for life on the earth. So the emergence of strains of the bacteria that are resistant to a broad range of antibiotics, it has become a problem in the recent times in the treatment of bacterial infections. And only 2 new classes of antibiotics have been developed in the past 30 years. And the novel ways of combating the bacterial infections, they are being sought. And the bacteriophages, they were first used to control the bacteria in the 1920s. And a large clinical trial was conducted by, many scientists, including the Soviet scientists in 1963. But this work was unknown outside the Soviet Union until the results were published in the West in 1989. So the recent and escalating problems caused by the antibiotic-resistant bacteria, it has stimulated a renewed interest in the use of the bacteriophages and the phage therapy. So the Human Genome Project, so that has revealed the presence of numerous viral DNA sequences scattered throughout the human genome. And these sequences make up around 8% of the human DNA. And they appear to be the remains of the ancient retrovirus infections of the human ancestors. So these pieces of DNA, they have firmly established themselves in the human DNA. And most of this DNA is no longer functional. But some of these friendly viruses, they have brought with them the novel genes that are important in human development. So the viruses have transferred important genes to the plants, and about 10% of all photosynthesis process uses the products of genes that have been transferred to the plants from the blue-green algae by the viruses. So let us now know about the emerging viruses of the recent times. See, the emerging viruses, they are those that have only relatively recently infected the host species. See, in humans, many emerging viruses, they have come from other animals. So when viruses jump to other species, the diseases caused in humans, they are called as the zoonosis or zoonotic infections. So the SARS, SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, that is caused by a new type of the coronavirus. Other coronaviruses, they were known to cause the mild infections in the humans. So the virulence, I mean, spreading of these viruses and the rapid spread of this novel virus strain, it caused alarm among health professionals as well as the public. So the fears of a major pandemic, they were not realized, and by July 2003, after causing around roughly around 8,000 cases of infection and 800 deaths, so the outbreak had ended. So the exact origin of the SARS virus, SARS, it is not known, but evidence suggests that it came from the bats. So a related coronavirus emerged recently in China in November 2019 and spread rapidly around the world, subsequently named Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2. So, infections with the virus caused a pandemic with a case fatality or fatality rate of around 2% in the healthy people under the age of 50 to around 15% in those aged over 80, particularly those with pre-existing problems. So, as of April 2020, the fatality rate is lower than the SARS, the earlier SARS, but the infection is more contagious. So, measures to curtail the impact of the pandemic have been hampered by fear and prejudice and the what we call the stigmatization of infected people. So, unprecedented restrictions in peacetime have been placed on international travel, and curfews have been imposed in several major cities worldwide. And we have to see the progress.